If I play with the timings,
no, this is how dumb you are.
I'm super smart,
This
man.
is how dumb he is.
I'm the first YouTuber, pound for pound, #1 in the world. Yes, here,
He's getting
Look at me, man.
I'll whoop both your ass on the same night.
It's gonna be a good fight.
Put both the Chavezes in there. I'll whoop senior and junior.
Trash talk, he was talking to your father and all that. And so I was wondering if you felt disrespected or upset about anything that he said in the press conference.
Yes, a little bit disrespect.
At a recent press conference, Jake Paul stirred controversy by brazenly claiming he could defeat both Julio César Chávez Jr. and his legendary father, Chavez Sr., on the same night. The bold remark didn't sit well with Chavez Jr., who shot back with frustration, reminding Jake that he was already a world champion when Paul was still a child. The heated exchange quickly escalated, setting the tone for what's shaping up to be an emotionally charged and high-stakes fight.
Campeón, dile.
When you were born, I was already a champ.
There's two things you can't beat. There's two things you can't beat. Me and your drug addiction.
Well, Julio, you have had your struggles in recent years.
Julio César Chávez Jr. responded with confidence, saying he has the backing of the fans, who are eager to see Jake Paul humbled. According to Chavez, the public is growing tired of Jake's antics and is ready for someone with real boxing roots to silence the noise.
People say, I like Jake. Oh, I hate Jake Paul. I don't like him. Beat him. Put back him in the internet, YouTube. So I'm still supporting everybody.
You think there's any chance this man can beat you?
Not a shot, no. There's nothing he does that can offset anything I'm going to do to him. Not a single thing. Cardio, pace, output, jabs, body work, inside fighting. Wherever the fight goes, however the fight goes, he's going to be outworked in every single round.
In a conversation with Ariel Helwani, Chavez Jr. expressed deep offense over Jake Paul's remarks at the press conference, particularly those involving his father. While acknowledging that trash talk is part of building hype, Chavez said Jake crossed a line. He emphasized that he had shown respect toward Jake in the past but had received none in return. For him, this is no longer just a promotional war of words, it's personal.
To try to enter to a real boxing, you know, that's why he started me, because I'm ex-world champion, so he speak too much trash, you know, and try to sell the fight, but I don't like hear that things, you know, like, I don't know, Jake is good for that, you know, for promote fights and these things, but I really want to find out if it's good boxing, for real.
So a lot of people who have fought Jake have tried to sort of, as I said, end Jake Paul, like end all of this. They don't like that he's in boxing. Is that a motivation for you to knock him out so that he says, I don't want to do this anymore, so you could be the one to say you got Jake Paul out of fighting?
Yes, so that's, you know, I'm still thinking that I'm better than Jake Paul, so I think after this fight, maybe Jake continue to fight. I don't know, try to be a best boxer, but I don't think he have skills and everything for win that fight. Yes, I wanna end the Jake Paul career. I wanna end.
What do you think it will say about you at this stage of your career, 39, you've been fighting for so long, 60 fights, all that stuff. If you beat Jake Paul, what will that say about who Julio César Chávez Jr. is right now?
I want to put clear that I'm still here.
Chavez Jr. enters this fight with the weight of legacy and a lifetime of experience in the sport. Unlike many of Jake Paul's previous opponents, Julio isn't crossing over from another sport or coming out of retirement. He's a lifelong boxer raised in the gym, molded by years of competition, and sharpened by the sport's harsh realities. While Jake has built a name through social media and spectacle, Julio represents the old-school virtues of discipline, technique, and hard-earned respect. For him, this fight isn't about internet fame, it's about showing the clear difference between a seasoned fighter and a social media upstart.
You know, for me, like when I lost with Anderson Silva, but I'm out of shape. So these things, like the fight with Silva and a couple other fights, make the UFC fighters or the other people thinking that this guy can beat like a real boxer. So I don't think that is not possible, you know, because when you are a real boxer, you train right. It's different, you know, different sport. You know, you in boxing you need to do points, to win rounds, and you see. You're only thinking and I don't know, kill the other guy, you know, so it's different. So I'm very excited. I'm training very hard to prove that I'm much better fighter than Jake also, and of course better too.
When asked about the idea of Jake Paul ever facing someone like Canelo Alvarez, Chavez Jr. dismissed it outright. He believes the skill gap is far too vast for such a fight to be taken seriously. In Julio's view, even suggesting a matchup between Jake and Canelo is a product of online hype, not boxing reality. To him, it's disrespectful to what elite professionals like Canelo bring to the sport and a sign that Jake is still far from being taken seriously in that league.
I don't think he has a chance with Canelo.
Obviously, Jake was scheduled to fight Canelo and then it fell through. How do you think that fight would have gone? Do you think he would have been in some big trouble?
No, I think Canelo is much better than him. You know? It's not the same level, so that's why I say that my career is different than his career, because I don't think he has a chance with Canelo.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Fellow fighter Rolando "Rolly" Romero also weighed in, highlighting Chavez Jr.'s extensive experience. He noted that Julio has faced more top-tier opponents than Jake Paul could even name, a testament to his pedigree. In boxing, legacy is built on the quality of opponents, and Julio's resume speaks for itself. This fight, for Chavez Jr., isn't just another paycheck, it's a continuation of a career rooted in real battles. Romero's comments reinforce the idea that Julio's depth and background far surpass what Jake has brought to the ring so far.
He's fighting a legend son.
Real deals. How do you think he does?
Who's been in the ring with a bunch of other legends. I mean, Chavez fought Canelo. We fought a bunch of people.
People got to see more, you know. People don't want to give it to him, just coming where he's come from.
Yeah.
But if other boxers co-sign him as a real fighter, that's a good test. That's a good sign.
Bro, he's fighting Chavez Jr. I don't care. Bro, he's fighting a real fighter. He's fighting a legend son.
Real deals. How do you think he does?
Who's been in the ring with a bunch of other legends. I mean, Chavez fought Canelo. We fought a bunch of people.
But how do you think Jake does in that fight?
Well, where's the fight at? Cruiser?
No idea. 65?
I don't even know. I don't pay attention to it, to be honest with you.
I don't think Jake Paul can make 65 ever.
So. Hell no. Jake Paul is like a good 20 pounds actually.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
165.
Jake Paul trains hard, bro. He's a very intelligent person. You guys think he's a fucking bimbo? He's very fucking intelligent.
Yeah, he's definitely a beast. He's definitely a monster with marketing.
No, not even marketing, bro. He's a very intelligent person.
Yeah, you can tell like what he's doing.
Jake Paul carries himself with unwavering confidence, often claiming that he's the one reviving boxing's relevance. He argues that the traditional boxing world grew stale, and that his unconventional rise is what's shaking things up. To Jake, the criticism he receives isn't a flaw, it's validation that he's making an impact. While purists see his approach as disrespectful, Jake sees it as innovation. However, for many, including Julio César Chávez Jr., this mindset overlooks the deep roots of the sport, which were built on grit, discipline, and sacrifice, not followers in viral moments.
When you say that, what does that mean to you to protect the sport?
Well, for me, I feel like I'm the only one doing it. Everyone else is just trying to gatekeep or say that they're doing things for the sport or something is bad for boxing, but I'm the greatest thing to happen to boxing since Muhammad Ali, and there's no even debating that. And what I've done speaks for itself. No other fighter is building gyms, getting boxing gloves into the hands of kids, throwing multiple events a year, donating my whole entire purse back into my own charity when I fought in Puerto Rico, taking women from getting paid $1,000 to $5, $6, $7 million, breaking Netflix records, shutting down the site, 128 million global viewers. The list goes on, and I've done this in only 12 fights, where Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Marvin Hagler, like you can name any of these people, fought nobodies for their first 15 to 20 fights, and no one even knew who they were. And so my career has been different, heavily criticized from the start, but that's the mark and the sign of someone who's a disruptor and someone who's changing the game.
Boxing legend and promoter Oscar de la Hoya has expressed strong interest in this matchup, primarily because it represents Jake Paul's first true challenge against a real, career boxer. Julio's credentials bring a level of authenticity that Jake's past opponents lacked. De la Hoya's excitement isn't just about the spectacle, it's about the fight finally crossing into genuine boxing territory. With Julio's technical pedigree and proven track record, the stakes are no longer about hype versus retirement, they're about legacy versus ambition.
I'm really excited because the only reason I got involved with this is because he's fighting a real fighter now. Julio César Chávez went 12 rounds with Canelo. He is an ex-world champion in boxing. So this is a real legit fight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm obviously questioning what Chavez Jr. will we see. Will he be in great shape? Will he not be in shape? Will he make weight? Will he do a lot of questions behind it, but ultimately you have to tell yourself, Jake Paul, congratulations, this is the real first legitimate world champion fighter you're fighting.
Critics have pointed to Julio's age, suggesting he's past his prime, but those claims miss key context. Unlike others Jake has fought, Julio hasn't stepped away from the sport for long stretches or let his training lapse. He's remained active, both physically and mentally, and his instincts in the ring are still sharp. He isn't a retired athlete from another discipline, he's a boxer who continues to live and breathe the sport. That difference could prove crucial.
Word on the grapevine is that Jake Paul will be fighting Julio César Chávez Jr. in his upcoming fight. That is apparently going to be announced very, very soon. Now this is actually quite an interesting one really. Jake's going to get a lot of stick for this. It is another retired fighter. However, this is a guy that realistically has only been retired for about 4 years. And he also isn't a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. Chavez Jr. is only 39 years old. The last notable fight realistically for Chavez Jr. was Danny Jacobs. That was back at the back end of 2019. So you could say that realistically the guy hasn't been fighting top competitors for about 5.5 years or so. The thing that does worry me just a little bit is that Chavez Jr. was pretty much fighting at middleweight during his, let's say, prime. And no doubt that this fight will be at cruiserweight, if not heavyweight. So good on Jake Paul for fighting someone who is semi-recently retired this time, and he's actually a boxer and not an MMA fighter. But again, shame on Jake Paul for fighting someone who is considerably smaller and will likely want them to balloon up to cruiserweight. Maybe even heavyweight if Jake's sticking at this thing up. He's a heavyweight now. Let me know in the comments, will you watch this if it's on Netflix and it doesn't cost any more money like the Mike Tyson fight did? Are you interested? Should Jake Paul be taking on more active professional boxers nowadays? You know, not someone who has been retired for 4 or 5 years. I'm interested to know your opinions. Also, will this fight actually get made? Let me know in the comments. As always, like, favourite, save and a share, all appreciated. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything boxing, hit that follow button. Peace out.
Skepticism still surrounds Jake Paul's fights. Just as his bout with Mike Tyson drew criticism for being more show than sport, his upcoming clash with Julio faces similar scrutiny. Some fans view the matchup as another strategic business move rather than a competitive test. While no concrete evidence supports those claims, the trend of Jake facing older or unconventional opponents fuels ongoing speculation. Still, this fight has captured global attention, and both men have pride and reputation at stake.
You can't make this shit up. Guys, Jake Paul fights this weekend at the same time as UFC 317. Don't Don't be shocked, but it's another scam. This time it's against Julio César Chávez Jr., who's 39 years old, hasn't fought in a year, and lost a boxing match to Anderson Silva, who's not even a fucking boxer and 50 years old. You guys have to know the drill by now. Take Jake Paul, minus 650, throw him in parlays, take him straight, lay the line, he's not losing. This shit's hilarious, a flat out joke, a disgrace. But free cash is free cash. I'm not watching a second of this fight. A second. I'm just gonna watch my bets turn green and get paid out. Do yourself a favor and get paid out to Jake Paul minus 650. Free as the air you breathe.
Jake enters the ring with confidence, not just in his preparation, but in his narrative. He sees this fight as a defining moment for both himself and Julio. His supporters often reference Jake's victory over Anderson Silva, who once defeated Julio, as a reason for optimism. But boxing isn't about MMA math or paper comparisons, it's about styles, rhythm, and readiness. While that win gives Jake a mental edge, translating that into ring dominance is another matter entirely.
What do you think about when you see some of these matches? Like they just said, didn't they just have Jake Paul was gonna fight
Tyson?
What do you think about that shit, man?
It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
It's fucking dumb, I think.
Like, well, what are you expecting? What do you think the outcome's gonna be?
Well, I think...
Because I thought that Jake Paul would have lost by now, even fighting these guys at some stage, but he keeps winning. Like, I know that they're not, like, in their prime or whatever, but the whole background is fighting.
That's a good point.
And he keeps, like, somehow pulling it out. Like, if he pulls this one out, I don't care how old Mike Tyson gets. I'm not even fighting that guy until... Because he actually sat down on my show. He's fucking crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I felt I would not fight. Even if he's 70 years old, I'm not fighting.
What, he just felt like he had that danger in him?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
well, I asked him, what would you be if you weren't a boxer? He said, a fucking criminal. Like, stone cold my eyes. And I'm like, okay, nice.
Jake Paul remains a polarizing figure in boxing. His fans admire his disruptive energy and entertainment value, but traditionalists still question whether he's truly serious about the sport. To them, Jake's career often resembles a high-budget reality show more than a climb through the boxing ranks. Facing Julio gives Jake a rare chance to change that narrative. If he proves himself against a legitimate, seasoned boxer, he may finally earn some long-denied respect. But if this turns into yet another spectacle over substance, the doubts will only grow louder.
Jake Paul just went against Anderson Silva last night, and it was crazy. They were going back and forth. But in the 8th round, Jake Paul dropped Anderson Silva. It was a crazy back and forth war, but I feel that's what gave him the dub. Jake Paul walks away with the unanimous decision victory. The judges scored the scorecard 77-74, 78-73, and 78-73. Jake Paul advances to 6-0 in his professional boxing career. This was insane. He then goes on to call out Nate Diaz. What do you think is going to happen with that? It's crazy with this. Everybody and their mom was doubting Jake Paul back and forth. But now, when he beats Anderson Silva, what do you think he's going to do to Nate Diaz? No disrespect, but he's a much younger fighter. He's getting better every day, every night, and who knows, might walk away with the W. Tune in next time.
Jake Paul remains a polarizing figure in boxing. His fans admire his disruptive energy and entertainment value, but traditionalists still question whether he's truly serious about the sport. To them, Jake's career often resembles a high-budget reality show more than a climb through the boxing ranks. Facing Julio gives Jake a rare chance to change that narrative. If he proves himself against a legitimate, seasoned boxer, he may finally earn some long-denied respect. But if this turns into yet another spectacle over substance, the doubts will only grow louder.
My final what's that smell goes to Jake friggin' Paul. Yes, as he's gearing up for his upcoming fight against Julio César Chávez Jr., a guy that can't win a fight, hasn't won a fight in the last 10 years. The guy's been an absolute joke. Well, Jake comes out and says, hey, listen, I'm getting in the ring with a champion at one point. I'm getting in the ring with a guy that was on top of the world at one point. All Jake Paul is selling is at one point, because Julio César Chávez Jr. hasn't won in more than 10 years 3/4 of those points. What are you trying to sell? Here's what I think he's trying to sell. He's trying to sell a fight that means nothing. Jake Paul, he's great on the HBO special thing, a documentary that he has, The Paul. He's great at everything he touches when it comes to marketing. Stop trying to sell something that doesn't exist. You will never get into a ring with a real boxer, because if you do, you're going to get your ass whipped.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more updates and breakdowns on this highly anticipated showdown.